In this video, I'm going to share with you some of the most historic news that has just happened. Well, it happened last night, technically around 4 a.m. my time here in Thailand. But the news is that the Bitcoin ETFs were approved. Massive news. This changes everything, as I was saying in my previous video, which if you haven't seen, I will link below. But this is monumental because this basically brings in all institutional money, old money, institutional money into the crypto space. And this is massive because we know that as money flows into Bitcoin, it then flows into the other cryptocurrencies. That's where everyone, all retail investors, which is what you call, just general you and me type, like real people investors in crypto, we call them retail investors. And all the big guys like Fidelity, like BlackRock, I don't know if you've heard of them, they're institutional investors. They're like next level. So if we take a look at this article by Forbes, we see that the Bitcoin ETFs were approved. And this is massive news because for a moment yesterday, about 24 hours before the approval, the SEC's Twitter account was actually hacked, and it was like pretty hilarious news in the crypto space. Not so funny actually in the grand scheme of things, because we could have been denied, we could have just been denied on grounds of, this space is too volatile. Look at them, they're full of hackers. I mean, as it is, they think that the crypto space is full of, counterfeit sort of dark web people that are, anarchist and like trying to break away within the system, which there is a personality type in crypto, mainly people that want to take charge of their own finances, that want to take charge of their own financial futures. So there is a personality type. But to say that, and I'm going off on a bit of a tangent here, but to say that the whole crypto space is full of scammers and hackers, that's also an overstatement, and crypto, in many of the same ways that crypto is used for illicit behavior, to buy drugs, or I don't know if you guys have heard about like the Silk Road, but that's where Bitcoin, I would just Google it. That's where the Silk Road, where Bitcoin really was actually first used. So sure, Bitcoin and crypto has been used for illegal activities online so that, people can remain anonymous and not get caught. But real money, or fiat, as we call it in crypto, that's what we call the US dollar or the euro or the peso, or like real money that the real world uses. In crypto, which we call Web3, because the most of the world operates in right now is called Web 2. So crypto and Bitcoin and blockchain, all of that really represents the next generation of the internet. So we call it Web 3, just so you're aware. But anyway, what I'm saying is that actually, traditional money or Web 2 money has been used and is used and has always been used for illicit behavior too, like drug trafficking, human trafficking, horrible, horrible things. So the thing is that money is just a form of energy, exchange of energy for something of value, right? And so anyway, all of that to say that crypto is in itself just energy. It's just a form of exchange, and it's not evil or, illicit. It's just a form of doing business. So anyway, all of that to say that, this news of the SEC's Twitter being hacked, which is actually a little funny considering that this is the government. And after a lot of investigation, even Twitter's security, TwitterX's security even did a debrief, which I'll also link, and we can share the screen right now. They also confirmed that, the account just didn't have 2FA set up. Like there was a very basic breach of security, and 2FA I'm pretty sure everyone watching this knows what 2FA is, but it basically just means like set up an authenticator app on your phone, or, you know, make sure that someone has to put in a code or it gets sent to your phone to make sure that the login is verified and justified. So the government's Twitter did not have this set up, which is why they got hacked. So anyway, it's funny and not funny, and all of it, you know, points to a bigger problem. But the point is, it was hacked. So everyone was worried in the crypto space, like, oh no, you know, the Bitcoin ETFs might be denied just on grounds of that, you know, this is too volatile of a market, of a financial asset, you know, which crypto is. Dollars are assets, you know, real estate are assets, just form of value, are different forms of assets. So anyway, thankfully, it was not a factor, and thankfully, the Bitcoin ETFs were approved last night. I would have loved to have covered it, but I was so tired. I actually made a different video for you guys, but it's now outdated, so I'm making a new one today. And it's probably for the best because there's so much news to cover. All right, so Bitcoin ETFs were approved. This is huge because it's been about 15 years since Bitcoin, you know, entered the market, entered the world, since the first Bitcoins were mined. Actually, it's very interesting. It's just a note. I'll also link it on the page. But Hal Finney, who's a gentleman that many believe was the creator of Bitcoin, Satoshi, known as Satoshi, who actually no one knows like who he is. No one has been able to find him, which is why Bitcoin is incorruptible, which is why no one can take it down, which is why it's so powerful, you know, as a world currency, because it doesn't belong to any one government. And that has always been the problem behind money, is that money, as we've known it, has always belonged to some government entity, right? The US, Europe, different countries. And if the government controls the source of value and value exchange, then they can manipulate it, right? For different purposes and against other countries and their currency. And that's where you see so much manipulation happen. And that's what's so powerful. It's one of the main reasons I should actually do a video on the power of Bitcoin. Like, why is it so powerful? And why is it the future? And the future's here, finally, or just got started. So anyway, what's so interesting is that the gentleman that many speculate or believe could be Satoshi, could be the creator of Bitcoin, he actually 15 years ago on the dot, on the day, yesterday, you know, released his first like tweet, first like post stating that he was mining Bitcoin, you know, on his node. Which is also a bit too technical for this video, but you should know that a node is the place where Bitcoins are generated, put it that way, based on a certain process called mining, kind of like gold mining. Anyway, pretty epic news. Just incredible. Anyway, this is so powerful, once again, because moving on to point 2, this is so powerful because as the Bitcoin ETFs are now approved, this allows for old money to enter the market, as I was saying, which then we know always waterfalls over into other crypto tokens, which we know from my previous video are just other currencies, you know, other forms of money in this Web3 new world of money that are cryptographically written, made. So that's exciting for you and me because that's our golden opportunity to make a lot of money. So don't feel bad if you don't own Bitcoin. Don't feel like you missed the boat. You know, that's why what happened is so powerful, because the reason, one of the main reasons or barriers to entry, as we say in crypto, one of the main reasons that it's been so hard to make this industry grow and share it with our moms and our families and everyone is because it's been so hard to enter. I can't even tell you the amount of times I've been asked, like, how do I buy it? Like, how do I buy it? In the past, most Bitcoin was bought in a way that's called OTC, over the counter transaction, meaning people would just literally, there was like, I think it was called like Bitcoin Meetup or Bitcoin, I forget the name, but people would literally just talk, right? Because a lot of the initial Bitcoin business was happening on websites like Silk Road, right? Or in the dark web, which is basically the internet, like behind the internet that not many people have access to. The government does. But anyway, so people would just like meet up in bathrooms and gas stations, parking lots, and they would exchange physical cash. And a lot of this still happens today for Bitcoin. And thankfully, the community is a great community. Like, sure, it's full of like anarchists or rebels, but there are also people that want to own, like I was saying in the beginning of this video, they want to own their lives. They want to own their financial freedom. And so there tends to be like a great personality type in the space, but there also are those sort of like scammers, okay? Just like there's scammers in every industry. If you haven't met any yet, like they're out there, they're coming. So this is why it's important to do your own research. This is why it's important to learn. And that's why it's so important you're here on this channel, because I'll share everything I know with you to protect yourself so you can make good investment deals. Anyway, nowadays you can buy Bitcoin on sites, just to name a couple. You can go to Webull. I'll link it. We, like W-E, Bull, B-U-L-L. And it's an app and it's awesome. Like you can just sync it up to your bank, and then you have to get verified. It's called like KYC, like know your customer. There's a few processes in place, but once you get verified, then you can buy crypto, which is awesome. And there's also Revolut, which is pretty awesome as well. You can do the same thing. So Webull, Revolut, I recommend both. And then you can also go on different exchanges. That's a separate video. I'll make a note for a separate, like here, like very, very soon on exchanges. Yeah, so that's where you can go to buy Bitcoin, just to name two, in the easiest way. Anyway, that's amazing. All this news is amazing because it, like I was saying, it means now that Bitcoin ETFs have been approved, so much money is entering the space, which is going to enter. It's going to flow over into like the altcoins or the alternative coins, cryptocurrencies, which is where the real opportunity lies for you and I to make money. Anyway, moving on to number 3, which is, okay, now what? What happens now? Well, what's going to happen now is that now we're looking at Ethereum ETFs to be approved soon. And what is Ethereum? Ethereum, in the simplest way, is, think of like an app store, where you go to like Apple Store or your Android Play Store and you download apps there, right? Well, Ethereum, think of Ethereum, they call the token ETH. Think of it as the app store where all these different apps can get built on top of and, be downloaded and used, right? And if you ask, okay, what are these apps running on, right? Like what program, like what are they running on? They're running on iOS, Apple, right? They're running on the iOS network, or they're running on Android's network, right? So that's what Ethereum is the equivalent to, just so you have an idea. So what's coming next, and you'll hear it all over the news, but I'm just simplifying it for you, is that Ethereum's ETFs are now in the air, and we can be pretty sure, and I'll cover it on my channel, we can be pretty sure that the Ethereum ETFs are next. Which, once again, don't get super wrapped up on needing to own so much Ethereum. Ethereum, the token itself, there's the network, and then the token that is like gas to the network, right? So the more ETH you have, sure, it has value, especially as it gets very busy and everyone's running different applications on Ethereum, then gas prices will go up as they do in real life, right? When there's short supply, then prices go up, right? So similar concept. So as Ethereum's ETFs are now in question and possibly going to get approved, the real implication on what this is going to mean in terms of investment opportunities and wealth growth opportunities is going to be that the Ethereum ecosystem, think of it as the apps that run on Ethereum, right? Those are the ones, and we'll show it right now on the screen. Those are the ones that are really the ones you're going to want to look out for and go buy. But you're going to want to buy, if you go to the chart, okay, and we can go to the chart here. Let's go to the chart of like Arbitrum. Okay, that's one of them that everyone is kind of talking about. If we go to the chart of Arbitrum, notice this, you know, the chart goes up and down, up and down. Okay, you're going to have to just like take a look at it, and we can do one together in one of my upcoming videos. But you're going to want to buy when it's down. And then that's where you buy, okay? And then you wait for it to rise up, and you're going to want to sell, just a super high level 101 trading class. You're going to want to sell before it gets to the height, like buy right below the previous highest peak, if that makes sense. Okay, but anyway, don't get too wrapped up in this. I'm just letting you know that where the money is going to go next is going to be into the Ethereum ecosystem. And there's a few other projects, or companies as we call them, projects in crypto. One of them I mentioned in my community chat, which I'll link below. It's on Telegram. And I would really encourage you to join if you have questions on crypto, how it works, like where do I go, like what do I do? I'm building up the team and the community leaders that will help answer all your questions. But this project paid. I'm actually a founding team member. I was the original CMO, and I worked on this logo. I actually hand drew the font for this logo, but that's too much information. And then it was made into this beautiful logo. Anyway, this project, if we go to Ignition, this is the launch pad. That was one of the top 3 last bull run. They have massive news dropping today. So I would encourage you to go buy some, which you will need to download MetaMask for. Let me show it on the screen. You will need to download MetaMask, okay? Once you have it downloaded, man, this is a whole other video. Let me pause here. I'll make a video on MetaMask. But once you download it, you'll be prompted to make an account. You're going to want to save. This is what's unique about crypto, because you are your own bank in crypto. Okay, so it's awesome because no one can ever take it from you. Like what's happened in Venezuela, what's happened in so many other countries. They can't touch your bank account, right? That's the power of crypto, is you are your own bank. So anyway, you download MetaMask, you're going to be prompted to remember your password, write that down like your life depends on it. I don't even know what to tell you on how safe to keep it. Write it down on a little piece of paper, put it somewhere that you will never lose, have it on your mind, burning on your mind. If you lose that password, and you're going to be given 12 unique words that are just random, write those 12 words down. Okay? Save that like your life depends on it, because it does. If you lose that little paper and those 12 words, you're done. Like, all your money, no one can help you. You're on your own. This has happened to me. I lost a wallet with $25,000 in it. Do you know how sad I was? I was so sad. I'm still searching through all my notes for that little piece of paper. It's tragic. Okay, who wants to lose $25,000? Maybe it's not that much to like super wealthy people, but for me, that was a lot of money, you know? Like, no one wants to lose $25,000. Anyway, enough said. Lesson learned. And, you know, I can warn you right now, but you won't learn until it happens to you. But I'm just here to tell you, like, you write that down like your life depends on it. Okay, so you make your MetaMask account, you save your password, ingrain it in your memory, and you save those 12 words. Then you're going to need some Ethereum to start doing your first transactions. If you join my chat below, Telegram chat, I will send you some Ethereum. Not very much. I'll send you like $10 or something. Yeah. Fine. I'll send you like $20 in Ethereum, in ETH, because you will need to start doing transactions, and you can't do it unless you have gas. You'll need Ethereum to get started. So if you click on the link below and you join my community, I will send you like $20 in ETH so you can get started. Because what you're going to want to do, let me show you, and I'll drop this in the chat below as well. Go to CoinGecko, okay? This is where a lot of people go to get their crypto updates on how the market's doing, and find the addresses, which is how you buy them. You need the address, okay? So here's paid networks. Here's paid networks, like information page. You're going to want to go here to the contract, and you're going to want to click. Now you copied it, okay? Then you're going to want to take this into, because I'm not going to show you all my tokens, and you're going to want to buy, like search for swap, the swap feature, and you're going to want to buy it. Buy like whatever you can afford, $50, $100, $500, but it's about to pump, and having this token will get you into the best investment opportunities. I kid you not. Into the best investment opportunities of this bull run. So that said, this is a wrap. Excuse my energy if it's a little quiet. I was up until like 6 in the morning. But great things happening. These days are absolutely historical in the crypto space, in the world, really. Like, we have no idea what just happened. Like, financially, the world just expanded in the best way. It's amazing. Anyway, I love you very much. I hope this information was informative. Let me know if anything was not clear enough. I'm happy to make another video. I'll be making another video today anyway. And I hope it blesses somebody, and share it with some friends. Anyone that you know wants to make money in crypto but just feels a little overwhelmed with the information online, I'm happy to clarify and clarify again as many times as I need to help you make as much money as possible this bull run. All right, thank you and take care, and talk to you soon. Ciao.